Welcome to our section on what services are available. In this section, I will discuss the definition of an accommodation and will provide examples of accommodations that could be appropriate for your child, depending on his or her needs. Let's begin with a definition of an accommodation. For those of you who viewed my introductory segment, you will remember my daughter was able to access the water skiing experience through an accommodation made to the boat. This simple adjustment to the method typically used made all the difference in her ability to get up on skis. This same philosophy can be applied to students in the classroom as well. Accommodations are tools and procedures that provide equal access to instruction and assessments for students with disabilities. They are provided to level the playing field. This list provides you with the characteristics of an appropriate accommodation. Every student has different needs. Therefore, accommodations must be individualized. They must place a student with a disability at an equal starting level with a typical student in accessing classroom instruction and participating in assessments. Accommodations are not intended to reduce learning expectations. They must allow and appreciate differences in students' learning styles. Sometimes adjusting the environment in which a student learns will help enhance the learning opportunity. For example, it would be useful to seat a student who needs additional cueing or attention near the teacher. Adjusting a class schedule could be beneficial for a student who requires extra time between classes. A student with an attention deficit may require a space with minimal distractions. A student in a wheelchair may need the use of ramps to get from place to place. Some students may require the use of organizational accommodations designed to make adjustments to lessons, assignments, and testing. Students who have slower processing abilities may require extra time to complete tasks or assignments. Shortening assignments or breaking work into smaller segments could also be helpful. For students who have difficulty writing, allowing typewritten or computer-printed assignments could be appropriate. Providing peer tutoring when needed could also be an appropriate accommodation. A student with a mental health diagnosis may need behavioral accommodations in the classroom. Behavioral accommodations should include positive behavioral supports. Examples of positive supports could include providing frequent, immediate, positive feedback when needed, using nonverbal cues as a way to help a student stay on task. Seating a student near a positive role model could also be effective. And lastly, having the ability to anticipate problems and use preventative strategies will prevent negative behaviors from occurring in the first place. Presentation accommodations make adjustments to how information is presented to the student. A few examples of how adjustments could be made include the following ideas. Taping lessons for a student who has trouble taking notes could be helpful. Taking extra time to ensure directions are understood help the student successfully meet the classroom objectives. Writing key points of a lesson on the board or providing a written outline is helpful for students with processing or attention disorders. Some students may need a teacher to make adjustments to the instructional methodology and pace. Several adjustments to consider would be to include a variety of activities in each lesson, allowing for the student to generalize the principles taught in the lesson. Repeat and simplify instructions about assignments to make sure each student in the class clearly understands the teacher's expectations. Change instructional pace. A skilled teacher can read her audience and will know when to slow down or present the lesson material in a different way. Supplementing a lesson using computer-assisted instruction can offer a multi-sensory approach to learning. Curriculum accommodations make adjustments to the type, amount, and presentation of materials. For example, it is helpful when teachers determine whether materials are appropriate to the student's current interest and functioning levels. Allowing taped textbooks can be very helpful for students with print disabilities, such as those with reading disorders or visual impairments. Lastly, be aware of the student's preferred learning style and provide appropriate instruction and/or materials. A tip for parents who have a child requiring accommodations during testing would be to make sure the accommodations are the same ones used on a daily basis in the classroom. Experience has shown that students who use their accommodations with consistency score higher on their testing than students who don't. The hallmark of a good accommodation is that it makes things easier for the student and generally for the teacher and others in the program. The following are examples of what teachers could do. Use appropriate teaching methods. Work out simple, common sense accommodations whenever possible. Deal with problems quickly and fairly. Involve parents and other professionals often when needed. And administer and monitor medication and attend to the medical needs of those students who need it.